Okay, one more thing. So if you know me, you also know that the love languages is like just something that totally changed my life, and it really, really helped me to understand me as a person and what I needed in relationships and what I needed from myself to strengthen my own relationship with myself. So I've done a lot of work with that, and I developed a couple of things based off of that, a couple of worksheets. So I'm going to share with you a couple of them from that. And what I want you to do is I want you to actually do this. So go get yourself, go get yourself a pen, go get yourself paper, something to write with. I'll give you a few minutes to go do that, and then we'll get started. It's pretty quick and painless, so you just need to grab something to write with. Okay, ready? If not, if you don't have it yet, just pause me for a minute, go get it, and then, unpause when you're ready. So, first, what I want you to do, I want you to write down 5 categories and the number 1 and the number 2 under each category. So your first category is going to be physical touch. And then you're going to have a number 1 and a number 2 underneath that. And then you're going to write down quality time. And you're again going to write down a number 1 and number 2 underneath that. Then I'm going to have you write down receiving gifts. And again, you're going to put the number 1 and number 2 underneath receiving gifts. Your fourth category is words of affirmation. Same thing. You're going to write the category and then 1 and 2 underneath that. And then lastly, the 5th one is acts of service. And again, you're going to put the number 1 and number 2 underneath that. So when you're done, you should have what looks like up here at the top, and I don't know if you can see that. There you go. So you see how you have the categories and then the 1 and the 2, and you have that with all of the categories. So you should have something that looks somewhat like that. Okay. Then what I'm going to ask you to do is in each one of those categories, I want you to write down some way that somebody could show love to another person in each of those categories. So 2 ways somebody can show love to another person using the love language of physical touch. 2 ways that you can show love to another person using the love language of quality time. 2 ways that you can show love to a person using the love language receiving gifts. And 2 ways of showing love to another person using words of affirmation. And then lastly, again, 2 words of showing love to another person by engaging in acts of service. Okay, so I want you to do that. Pause the video for a minute while you take that and write down those 2 ways for each one of those categories. Okay, then next, after you have all of those categories written down, you've got 2 ways for each one. I'm going to have you go and take the 5 love languages quiz by Gary Chapman. And very easy. All you have to do is just look it up. You'll find the quiz, take the quiz, and then I want you to list in order what your top love language is down to your least love language. And you're going to have 5. They're going to be those same categories. It's going to be physical touch, words of affirmation, quality time, acts of service, or receiving gifts. So those are going to be your categories. And I want you to just rate them, 1 through 5. So 1 is your least and 5 is your top. So 5 is your top rating love language. That's the love language that you speak. And 1 is your least love language that resonates with you. So that's the one that you don't speak at all or very, very minimally. Okay, so again, go ahead and pause this video, go take that quiz, and then come back to me, or, take the quiz ahead of time and then come rewatch this video and finish with the steps here. So once you've done that, I want you to take a minute and think about your top rated love language. And I want you to try to think about why that love language is your top rated love language. What's the reason for it? Then I want you to find your least highest love language, the least ranking, the bottom of the barrel one. And I want you to write down what that reason is. So why is your bottom love language the one that it is? What's the reason for that? And I want you to write that down. So then, based on your quiz results and the way that they've come up for you on your ranking system here, I want you to brainstorm 3 ways that you can show love to yourself in your top 2 love language categories. Okay. So you can use your reasoning for why it's your top love language. Okay, you're doing your top 2, so you're gonna do, if you ranked them as physical touch being the most important to you, and then maybe words of affirmation came in second, you're going to use those 2 love languages, and you're going to come up with 3 examples that you can show love to yourself in those 2 categories. It doesn't have to be 3 each, but if you can do 3 for each category, that would be amazing. But otherwise, try to just get 3. So if you can only come up with 1 for physical touch and 2 for words of affirmation, that's great. Or, maybe you come up with 3 for words of affirmation, but you can't come up with any for physical touch. That's okay too. I just want you to use those 2 top love languages that you have and try to brainstorm 3 ways total that you're able to show yourself love in your 2 top love languages. Now, if by chance you ranked yours and you have like a top love language and then the rest of them are all only scored like maybe 2 or something, really try to just focus on that top love language then. And the reason is because that's the love language that resonates the most with you. So when you're trying to show yourself love, you're not going to feel a whole lot of self-love from yourself if you're not using a love language that resonates with you the most. So use the ones that you score the highest in. And if that's only one of them, then use just that one and then find 3 things within that one category. It can take a little bit of brainstorming and really getting creative and stuff to try and come up with these 3 things, because a lot of times we think that, showing ourselves self-love is like the same old. It's going and getting our nails done. It's, going shopping or something. It's letting ourselves take a bubble bath. And those are all ways to show yourself love. But what category do those fall under? And do they fall under the category of self-love that resonates with you? That's the question. Because if they don't, it's not going to feel like self-love. It's going to feel like you're just doing something you have to do. It's going to feel like a duty or like a chore, not self-love. So that's why this worksheet that I came up with can really help you to identify what your self-love, what your love language is, and then how to actually incorporate and love yourself based on your love language, so that when you're showing yourself and you're engaging in self-love, it actually really feels like self-love.